You guys want to see something really, really nasty? It's right here in the basement I'm temporarily trading in. Let me show you guys. Not this. It's this. So let me tell you what's going on here. For 4 months, I was holding SBEA. 4 months. I bought here after the big sell-off around, I think like 1050 was our final average at one point. Here I bought a little bit too early, and here I bought nice and low. And then this pop happened. I missed my exit. I forgot to place an ideal sell limit order. And then this pop happened, and I was like, I'm out of this one, especially in this nasty market right now. We're not going to see any more. The merger's tomorrow, but that was my train of thought. So I sold at 1062. That was pretty much I made like $60, $70 on this trade. I documented it this morning on Trade Journal. I was like, okay, you know what? It wasn't a red trade because every other swing trade I've been holding has fallen off a cliff. So at least it wasn't a red trade, and breaking even is probably better than I could ask for. But SBEA is the SPAC that took Black Rifle Coffee Company public, and that closed at what? I sold at 1062. It went up to 1034. This is every trader's nightmare. And then BRCC, well, it's a swing trade, so it's not like my normal thing. So BRCC hit a high of 18.5 today, and I had 1,000 shares, so I would have made, if I sold, let's say, at the perfect high, which I would have not done, but I probably would have sold pre-market or maybe waited for that open and see if there was a morning rally or a morning panic with a red to green move. That's probably what I would have done. I don't think I would have sold at 18, but two options. I would have sold pre-market somewhere in this $15 zone, or I would have waited for the market open, and on this run, I guarantee you I would have sold. So let's just say 17. If I sold at 15, I would have made 5K. If I sold at 17 or 18, I would have made, $7,000 or $8,000. Because I basically had a $10,000 position size, went from $10 to $18. And just like that, it could have been a pretty nice green month. Unfortunately, I closed this position. And, this is something that happens to all traders every now and then. I think to this extreme, it's like, a few times a year that this could possibly happen. I mean, this is probably the worst selling before the run has ever been for me. So, I mean, you wait 4 months, and if I just waited another 6-8 hours based on active potential trading time, it would have been a huge move. But that was the nasty thing in my basement today. I mean, it's pretty much, well, it's not my basement, but it's pretty much as bad as it gets, and devastating. I have buy orders on a bunch of trades. I would like to start entering swing trades. The CPI report, the Consumer Price Index, came out today. Not looking great. It's looking pretty much like estimates, but a little bit worse than estimates. I think estimates for inflation was at 7.3, and then it came out to 7.5, which is bad. But it's not that big of a missed target. But the market definitely reacted heavy to it today. Let's just quickly look at the SPY, for example, what this one did. Let's go to the 15-minute. So we've been crawling up for the last few days pretty nicely, up around 7%. But yeah, this is when the report came out. Price fell off a cliff, but then it rebounded right away, and we're pretty much back to where we were. So I think the market handled that pretty okay. I mean, it wasn't as bad as maybe it could have been, so it was kind of along expectations a bit. But yeah, it shows inflation is a real problem for sure, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go away anytime soon, especially with supply chain issues pushing up prices as well, and the instability in Eastern Europe right now. So many factors to be kind of still hesitant about, but I guess overall it was a pretty good sign for the fact that that recovery kind of makes a big green candle here because it was a gap down and then an instant recovery. But yeah, we still have huge resistance around 457. So let's see how strong the market keeps chugging along. Anyway, in terms of day trading today, I traded 3 different tickers. All luckily I'm green on, which is weird because I were all red today. I said, you know what? Nothing could make my trading worse than it has been lately. So I'm just going to wear all red. And look, it was actually a green day. And we made more than we lost yesterday, which is also, I guess, a perk. It's still been a really sluggish year for me. It's been a sluggish year for me. It's been actually an okay month, but it's just this has been a slow market for day trading small caps, and that makes it a tough market because It's just so easy to trip over yourself when you're bored. So let's go through these tickers, starting with RHE, and then I even traded BRCC. I made $84 on this one, but I could honestly cry because I should be up like 7,000 on it. But let's not talk about that too much, you know. And you guys all know I posted in the Discord yesterday in the swing trade section. I was closing out that trade. Nobody stopped me. Where were you guys? Shame on you guys. I'm just kidding. It's my decision, my own. So RHE is a ticker we've traded in the past several times. It's a backside ticker, pretty nasty. Healthcare, 1.7 million shares outstanding, 7.6 million market cap, pretty nice. Everything we're looking for, but it doesn't have a catalyst. It just, I think everything is a bottom bounce lately, and I think that's exactly what this was, up like 80%. Let's just go to the 5-minute and see what happened here. Yeah, pretty gnarly. Just basically popped up and disappeared. I actually did all right on this ticker. Yeah, I'm up only $6, but it was because of the last trade. And this is exactly what happened yesterday, where I overstayed my welcome for one trade. I missed this trade right here, this first one, we were breaking the $5 zone. So that was kind of annoying. I got the pullback trade, but only with small size. I missed my big fill, and that was kind of unfortunate. Then I did another trade here, started accumulating very small size before the potential market open rally, and I actually sold into that rally. So that was actually a pretty good trade, and I almost never hold into the open, but I did this time because it was just really small size, and I was kind of experimenting here a little bit. Yeah, slow market, those are the silly things you do. And then this ticker was pulling off. I was like, oh yeah, great red to green potential. I bought too soon. I basically was buying here at like an average of 488. That was like in this area. But then it sold off like another 4%. It bounced back, and I wasn't really able to get back to break even, so I took a loss there. Good thing I cut my losses because this ticker sold off ever since. So you got to cut your losses. The big problem on RHE is I didn't get my size early enough, and then finally when I got my size, it was my red trade, so it just wasn't really good sizing on my end. With BRCC, this is actually the last ticker I traded today, BRCC. So let's just quickly look at it. Yeah, I mean, we already looked at it. You know, big rally here, Black Rifle Coffee Company, the merger, the SPAC finally went through. What I did was just this last little pullback trade. And you'll see on the 5-minute down here and the 1-minute why I did this trade. So the 1-minute extended pullback, 5-minute right here, great support on VWAP and the 9 EMA. And I took this bounce trade. Could have sized up a little bit more. I mean, yeah, it wasn't even a $5,000 position size. So it was a pretty small, it was like below half of my average position size. But I think the thought of losing money on BRCC was overwhelming because I was like, if I lose money on this ticker, I'm just going to be devastated because that's the last thing that should have happened. So whatever, I made a little bit of profits on it, so I guess I'll take it, and I'm not going to keep chasing it. AREB, what do we got here? I'm up 580 on this one. Pretty good because I used very small position size. So on this ticker alone, I think I'm up like 13% based on my average position size. So actually, that's really good. Any day I'm up over 10% based on my average size is really good. I just wish I sized up a little bit more, and that was the biggest mistake I made today was my sizing. Obviously with RHE, I already talked about where I used too small size at first and then too big size when it got risky. With BRCC, I just used half size, which is, I think this is like the most okay because that emotions I had in my head on this ticker. And then AREB, I think I did really good on this ticker. I just didn't size properly. So I was actually watching this ticker into the breakout actually, let's start on the daily. And this was pretty weird. The price looks like it came from nothing, but really it was an IPO, and I think it took an old ticker, an old stock. So I don't think this is not AREB. So it's important to get that out of your head. I know it confused me the first time, but the IPO is on the 7th. So there's no industry yet for this one. But for my very quick research here, it looks like they do kits, safes. They have some apparel, backpacks. So I think you get the idea pretty quickly. And yeah, let's keep going here. 1.6 million shares outstanding, really nice. A $5.8 million market cap, really, really nice there. So this is exactly usually what I'm looking for a small cap, recent IPO, potentially blue sky setup. Let's go now to the 5-minute and look at this one a little bit more in depth. So last time we had that big spike and then sold off, and then 73%. That was brutal. I did a little bit of trading here when it looked like we might break this area, a little flag pattern, made some profits, but it wasn't that much. And then today we had again pre-market spike, pulled back, and then we had that another spike. And I was actually looking at this one at the 1 minute right here early on after the IPO. I just was kind of distracted. I didn't really know what ticker to watch. I was kind of watching BRCC. I was kind of watching RHE that we just talked about at first. I was watching a little bit of IRNT. There was a few tickers moving, and I was like a little undecided, but I've switched to AREB somewhere in this area, and I just didn't jump on it, and I was kind of annoyed. I was like, no, I'm missing this ticker. Like it's running from me. And then I really missed like the whole entire run. This was like 42%. I eventually got one of the first major pullbacks, but only with 1,000 shares, and I sold right away to take some profits, at least get a little bit green and see how I feel about this ticker. It pulled back again, did the same trade. That worked pretty well. Pulled back again, I did the same trade, and at this point I realized this ticker is ranging. This ticker is not on the front side anymore, most likely. So I'm just going to scalp a few more times, and that's what I did 2 more times, and that was overall a good decision because it wasn't on the front side anymore. It started its range and became very risky. But somewhere in this area, I could have definitely sized up a little bit more. I could have been using $6,000 to $7,000. When in reality I was like between $3,000 and $4,000. So I definitely should have sized up like 30-40%, maybe even get to my average size of around $10,000. So I wish I got more aggressive on this one because it had good volume and you can feel the dip buyers on this one. So that was the time for those 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes arguably in this area where you could just squeeze out some profits as much as possible and then walk away. Because the problem is if you don't do that, you're going to have regret, you're going to have FOMO, and then you're going to do it later on when it's no longer a good time to do it. Like let's say buying into this potential breakout and all of a sudden you're taking a potential 10% loss with your biggest size of the day. That's why you want to get aggressive when it matters or when it's a good time so you don't have that FOMO later. Because trust me, I think as a trader, avoiding future FOMO is like a massive thing that I feel like is not talked about nearly as much. I think most of my mistakes come from when I do too little trading when I should have done a lot of trading and then waiting, and then I'm like, oh, here's a little bit move and let me finally size up like I should have been doing, and then whack, I take my big loser and I erase most of my profits from the day or go in the red or something like that. And that's very frustrating, and that literally comes from not getting aggressive when you should be. So I think I noticed I wasn't getting aggressive enough here in this area, and then Black Rifle Coffee Company came up and I traded this one, and then I was like, oh, Alex, you're going down that road where now you're having a little bit of FOMO because you didn't get aggressive enough. And then I was like, you know what, boom, I'm going to call it. I'm up more than I lost yesterday. It's a nice green month overall, but it's not like the best month. So let me just, take my profits, move on, and hopefully we can end the week tomorrow green. Plus, I'm hurting from that BRCC. Just one more day after 4 months. I think the only thing that really consolidates me or consoles me, I don't even know, is the fact that all of my other swing trades, I managed them well, but overall I think I just took like 5 or 6 losses. I recently closed out a lot of my swing trades, and those were pretty brutal. So technically, if I didn't trade or hold BRCC, I most likely would have not held cash at the moment, and I probably would have averaged into more position sizes on the swing trades that were going down. So I guess BRCC helped me avoid a red trade, so thank you for that. But at the same time, silly swing trading, very silly swing trading on my end. It hasn't been my best, but I'm still up very nicely on my swing trades in general on my statistics, so I can't complain. You have red trades, you have missed opportunities. It's all part of the game. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. That's all for this day trading recap. I'll see you then first thing tomorrow morning for the next recap. Don't forget to drop a like on the way out. Consider subscribing if you're new. We'd love to have you part of the community. Check out my portfolio's here on Trade Journal, and like always, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.